Hello my hero, have a nice viewing dear. If you like the story, please like it and write your opinion in the comments, please please please.
It started with a simple observation, one I ignored at first. Our pipes had never had issues before. But suddenly, my wife, Melissa, was calling the plumber every other week. At first, I didn't question it. Houses have problems, things break. It made sense. Until it didn't. One evening, I came home earlier than usual. Melissa looked startled, almost guilty. I glanced around the house, expecting to see some sign of repair work, tools, wet floors, anything. But there was nothing. "What was wrong this time?" I asked, nodding toward the kitchen sink. She hesitated for half a second before answering. "Oh, just a small leak. Nothing big." I frowned. The pipes were new. There shouldn't be any leaks. And then I saw it, the receipt on the counter. It was from the plumber, but instead of listing repairs, it only had a single-line item. House call $0. Free? Since when do plumbers work for free? A knot formed in my stomach, but I kept my face neutral. If something was happening, I needed proof. Real proof. That night, while Melissa was asleep, I ordered a hidden camera online. If she was lying, I'd have everything I needed to expose the truth. And if I was wrong? Then at least I'd have peace of mind. But deep down, I already knew. I wasn't wrong. The next day, I called in sick to work. Melissa had no idea. I left the house at my usual time, but instead of driving to the office, I parked down the street and waited. Sure enough, within an hour, the notification hit my phone. Motion detected. Kitchen. I pulled up the live feed and saw him again, the same plumber. Melissa let him in with a smile, casually touching his arm as she led him inside. I could already feel the rage boiling inside me, but I forced myself to stay calm. I had planned for this. While they got comfortable inside, I sent a text to two of our closest friends and Melissa's sister. "Me, come over now. Emergency. Don't tell Melissa. Just trust me." Within minutes, they were on their way. I waited, giving them enough time to get to my house before I finally made my move. I walked up to the front door, key in hand, heart pounding, camera recording. Then I walked inside. Melissa and the plumber were in the living room now, standing too close, laughing at something. The moment she saw me, her face went pale. "Oh my God!" she gasped, stepping back. "What are you doing home?" I held up my phone, pressing play on the video of them from the day before. The room went dead silent as their voices filled the air. Melissa's sister and our friends walked in behind me, their expressions shifting from confusion to shock as they saw what was happening. The plumber's face drained of color. I should go." "Yeah," I said, stepping aside. "You should." He bolted, nearly tripping over himself to escape, leaving Melissa standing there, exposed, humiliated, and surrounded by the very people she never wanted to see her like this. She opened her mouth, desperate for an excuse, but there was nothing left to say. I had set the trap. And she had walked right into it. The room was thick with silence, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone. Melissa's face was frozen in shock, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to say something, but what excuse could she possibly give? Her sister stepped forward first. "Melissa, what the hell is this?" Melissa swallowed hard, her eyes darting between the people who had once trusted her. "It's not what it looks like." I laughed, shaking my head. "Not what it looks like. I have days of footage proving otherwise." Her hands trembled. I was lonely, Luke. You were always working, and Don't," I cut in sharply. "Don't you dare try to blame this on me. I worked to give us a good life. I trusted you. And you threw it away for some random plumber?" Melissa's sister turned away in disgust. Our friends whispered among themselves, their disappointment clear. The betrayal wasn't just between us anymore. Everyone saw her for who she really was. She stepped toward me, her eyes pleading. "Luke, please, we can talk about this." "There's nothing left to talk about." I said coldly. I want you out. Now. Her breath hitched. But this is our house. I smirked. Correction, my house. I already spoke to my lawyer. Your name isn't on the deed. You have until the end of the day. Tears welled in her eyes, but she knew there was no way out. Not this time. Melissa's sister let out a deep sigh, then turned to her. You better start packing. And just like that, her world came crashing down. Melissa stood there, frozen, as reality finally hit her. The house, the security, the life she thought she had under control, it was all slipping away, and there was nothing she could do about it. Her sister crossed her arms. I can't believe you did this. To Luke. To all of us. Melissa turned to her, desperate. Please, you have to understand. No, her sister snapped. I don't. You had everything, and you threw it away for some guy who fixes pipes? You deserve whatever happens next. I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching as she tried to salvage whatever dignity she had left. I suggest you start packing. She hesitated, as if still hoping for a way out. Luke, don't do this. I raised an eyebrow. You did this. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. A sharp knock at the door interrupted us. I opened it to find the plumber himself, standing there like an idiot. I just came back from my tools. He muttered, avoiding eye contact. I smirked. Yeah? Well, you can take Melissa with you. She's moving out. His eyes widened. Wait, what? Melissa turned to him, panic flashing in her expression. No. I don't have anywhere to go. Not my problem. I said coolly. You made your bed. Now lie in it. Preferably somewhere else. The plumber gulped, realizing what was happening. He shifted uncomfortably, then muttered. Yeah, I don't think I can take you in, Melissa. I have a girlfriend. The room went silent. Melissa's breath hitched. You what? I burst out laughing. So you wrecked your marriage for a guy who wasn't even single? That's priceless. Her face turned red with humiliation. The plumber mumbled another excuse before grabbing his toolbox and bolting. Melissa was left standing there, looking utterly defeated. I stepped forward, lowering my voice. You didn't just lose me. You lost everything. Now get out. With nowhere left to turn, Melissa finally did as she was told. And just like that, she was gone. The house was finally quiet. I stood by the door for a long moment, letting the weight of everything sink in. Melissa was gone. The betrayal, the lies, the humiliation, it was all over. But instead of feeling broken, I felt something else. Relief. Her sister let out a breath, shaking her head. I still can't believe she did this. Believe it, I said. She made her choices. Now she has to live with them. Our friends, who had stood in stunned silence during the whole ordeal, finally spoke up. Luke, man, I'm sorry, one of them said. You didn't deserve that. No, I agreed. I didn't. But she deserved exactly what she got. I walked back into the living room and picked up the last thing she had left behind, her wedding ring. It sat on the coffee table, a meaningless symbol now. Without hesitation, I tossed it into a drawer. I had no use for it anymore. So what now? Melissa's sister asked. I smirked. Now? I move on. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it. The days after Melissa's departure were surprisingly easy. No more forced smiles, no more pretending things were fine. The house felt different, lighter, freer. I threw myself into work, into the gym, into rebuilding the life she had tried to tear apart. And the more I focused on myself, the clearer it became. She had been dead weight. Her sister reached out a few days later. She's staying at a motel. Says she has no money. I shrugged. Not my problem. She sighed. She keeps saying she wants to talk to you. I let out a dry laugh. Talk? She had plenty of time to talk before she decided to crawl into bed with the plumber. I figured you'd say that. she admitted. Just thought I'd let you know. And that was that. Melissa had made her bed. And now she was lying in it. Meanwhile, I was doing better than ever. I had won. A week later, I got another message, this time from Melissa herself. Melissa, Luke, please. Just talk to me. Just once. I stared at the screen, debating whether to respond. But what was the point? She wasn't sorry she had cheated. She was sorry she got caught. Still, a small part of me wanted closure. So I sent a single reply. Me fine. One conversation. That's it. We met at a cafe, a neutral place where I wouldn't have to bring any of her old baggage into my home. When she walked in, she looked different. Tired. Hollow. Like she hadn't been sleeping well. Good. She sat across from me, fidgeting with her hands. I know I can't fix what I did. I don't know why I did it. I arched an eyebrow. You don't know why you cheated on me? Seriously? She swallowed hard. I was stupid. I thought I could get away with it. You thought I'd never find out. I finished for her. She nodded, shame filling her face. I lost everything. I lost you, my home, my reputation, and for what? A guy who didn't even care about me? I leaned back, arms crossed. Sounds like a personal problem. Her eyes watered. Do you think we could ever fix things? I laughed. Actually laughed. Melissa, there's nothing left to fix. She exhaled shakily, wiping at her eyes. I deserve that. Yeah, I said, standing up. You do. And with that I walked out, leaving her with exactly what she had earned, nothing. After that meeting I expected that to be the last time I'd hear from Melissa. I had given her closure, or at least, I had given myself closure. But she didn't stop. A few days later, I got another text. Melissa, I know I messed up. But can we at least be friends? I nearly choked on my coffee. Friends? She must have hit rock bottom if she thought I'd ever let her back into my life in any capacity. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I blocked her number. And just like that, Melissa was erased from my life for good. For the first time in months, I felt completely free. No more lies. No more doubts. No more wondering what was happening behind my back. Just peace. And damn, it felt good. A month had passed since I last heard from Melissa. I thought there might be some lingering bitterness, some regret for how things turned out, but there wasn't. I had won. One evening, as I sat on my balcony, looking over the city, I realized something. I was happier than I had been in years. The weight of her betrayal had lifted, and in its place, there was nothing but freedom. No more lies. No more pretending. No more wasting my time on someone who never deserved me in the first place. Melissa? She was just a bad chapter in my life. One that I had finally closed. I smirked to myself, sipping my drink. Some people spend years getting revenge. I just let karma do the work.